Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Women of Community Banking podcast. I've got Angela with me. Hi Angela, how are you doing?
Doing great, Anurag. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Who's Angela? Angela is CFO of Smart Financial Credit Union based in Houston. She has an illustrious career being in the movement for over 12 plus years since she joined Smart Financial, and become a CEO over the course of time. Obviously, there can be bunch of discussions, but bunch of we'll talk about her background, but let's keep it short and crisp, and maybe let's hear from her. Sanjana, what has been your story or journey so far? Coming to this country as an immigrant and then doing this, this is impressive. So, what has been your journey so far?
It's been a wonderful one, Anurag. Coming to the United States back when I was a teenager, not really speaking the English language at all, working everywhere in school with a dictionary in hand. It's been a long way from there to where I can speak the language, understand the culture, make lots and lots of friends here, build a huge network, and work for multiple companies where I get to learn and develop and ultimately reach the pinnacle of becoming CFO of Smart Financial Credit Union. It's been a wonderful journey and I've been loving it.
That's a huge and proud moment, that, right? For all of us. Learning English when you're a teen to becoming a CFO, not easy, and speaking the same language as if it's your native language. That's not easy. That's very difficult. I can tell you from my experience. I've learned English since I was like 2 or 3. From that to this, it was not that big a challenge because I was already talking English when I was a kid. But for you coming to this country with dictionary, that is beyond even what I can imagine. So firstly, you should be very proud of yourself, Angela. It doesn't matter anything, right? So again, moving on to that of your background, you being an Asian woman who came to the country long time back. So what barriers have you faced as a Asian woman? So Asian plus women plus finance. It's a very rare combination.
It is multiple buckets, right, of barriers. And I think just being an immigrant from any other country, right, being a foreigner to begin with is a huge challenge for everybody who's not a native resident. And even
Absolutely.
for US citizens moving to a different country, expats and whatnot, right? They have to experience certain levels of acculturation into what the local society and the local expectations, even the rhythms of life is like. So that took some adjustment for sure. But I think by and large, though, what I see after all of my experiences is that as a human race, we all gravitate towards the same thing, right? Building security and safety for both ourselves and our family, right? Having a good, wonderful job where it provides for a comfortable living, and then making ourselves feel purposeful in whatever it is that we do. And then having that network of people that we can support each other on and count on and serve. And I think that is the desire of just about all human beings, right? By and large. And I think I focus more on the commonalities of what we are here for instead of the differences that I bring to the table. And on that, though, by and large, when people see you, right, you're a different face and people are naturally curious, right? Most of the time people ask me, even I have been here living in the United States for decades, people ask me, where are you from? At the beginning, it was natural. And then after 30, 40 years, I'm like, why are people still asking this question? But I got to a point where I take it as a matter of fact because I have a different face than they expect. So they have a curiosity. So I take the opportunity to bridge that cultural gap instead of feel like people are judging me because I look different from them. And I think that's where I get to build a lot of new friendship because of my openness, my transparency. And I share some of the things with them, including food, culture, and I ask them for advice of what I should be enjoying within their own culture, within their own tradition. And again, it is a way to build communication, build bridge, and build community.
Yeah, finally, I was trying to tell you, that triangle, Asian, women, and finance, that's like a Bermuda Triangle, right? It's...
But in finance, though, luckily, in this particular industry, because it is a service industry, there are a ton of women at work. And actually, when I'm looking at our female versus male population from a HR perspective, we always have more female than male within the banking industry. So I'm part of the majority from that cut of data. Being Asian, of course, now I'm in the minority group, but luckily, Asian women and men, for that matter, has been viewed very positively from a brain perspective, like STEM. Asian excelled in STEM. So women in banking dealing with numbers, we naturally actually got put on a pedestal. Like, you should be smart, you should know the numbers, and you should be able to articulate how the numbers work and come up with models and programming and so on and so forth. So from that perspective, I actually think that it helps instead of detracts.
The expectation just rises like this. That you're Asian, you will know numbers pretty well, right? I get that thing same. I
Yes.
understand. In terms of culture, right? Obviously talked about, yes, that women leaders, that there are a bunch of women leaders now, and obviously it's improving. But still, where do you think is the progress real, or it's lacking somewhere still?
From my vantage point, right, what I can see around me, I think the progress is real. There are a lot more CEOs that are women. My own CEO is a woman, and she has been a cultural changer from our company's perspective for many, even before she rise to the CEO post, because of her own drive, her talent, her ability to understand and articulate strategy, and being able to work on the agenda to execute with the team that we have in place. Brought
Yeah,
us
so that makes
into a
sense.
lot of conferences and in some of the executive development classes. There are a lot of female leaders around. Actually,
Sure.
one of the classmates I had in a class from 2 years ago, she got a CEO post in a much larger credit union recently. So it's happening for real. And she's also Asian American.
That's amazing, right? Uh, Talking about fintech, now obviously there was a time when we were not very open. Credit unions were not very open partnering with fintechs because we always thought that fintechs are competition. They are competing against us, but not really. Right? Fintechs are helping credit unions grow, compete against the larger banks, not with credit unions, right? So how do you think fintech as a play within credit unions?
It's definitely a competition, but could also be a partner, just depending on what the fintech technology is. In spaces where they're technically doing lending, like Solana, where you do payments and you do money transfers like Cash App, that's definitely a competition because those should be functions that's part of the banking industry, but
Sure.
they're not regulated like banks as of yet, right? So it's something that we need to look into and make sure that we're prepared for. And within the industry, there are a lot of vendors that are now providing that service where we can take a large purchase maybe after the fact instead of at the point of contact and finance that payment, so to speak, into installment payments. And so that would counter a little bit of the competition. But from an operational aspect, though, there are a ton of providers are now utilizing AI in developing underwriting processes, in doing data analytics, in doing marketing, in doing agentic services. So it's both a competition and a potential partnership because credit unions and banks are not in the business of developing apps. And we can definitely partner with the ones that provide the app that meets our business needs and take us to a new place.
Yeah, that's a very welcome change you talked about. The trade unions are not in a business of developing apps and products. You can partner with fintechs to fast track and make the journey much faster, easier, quicker. Right?
Absolutely.
That's interesting. Okay, let's do a couple of rapid fire before we go on to the last two questions. Spreadsheets or presentations?
I'm a spreadsheet person, but as
I know.
I grow in my role, I cannot live in spreadsheets anymore. Spreadsheet is what builds my foundation, but now presentation is what I live and breathe. And transitioning from being a tech person in details, doing the spreadsheets, building accounting models and or analytic models to where articulating something in a much higher level to either other managers or to the board, it's a natural progression. And I think one that sometimes requires a lot more change and development than people think. It's not just what you say, it's how you say and how you frame it for people and make sure that it includes a level of detail, but yet high level enough where people can grasp it and act on that information. So building the persuasive content, but yet engaging with either stories or humor, but yet landing on solid data support is a triangle that as an executive, someone needs to master for sure.
Fair enough. I mean, I might be a spreadsheet guy, but being a consultant, have been doing decks for almost the entire life. But if you ask me, always a spreadsheet person. It's more solid than aligning and creating boxes of the same colors for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
One leadership book that you or it can be any book. One book that you think everyone should read.
I have several on my desk. Let's see. The Essential Drucker would be one of them. So, Drucker, rather. The Essential Drucker. Professor Drucker's leadership and management philosophy has been around for many years. And I've read a lot of different books, but the principles, I think, over the years, however many iterations the business management schools do their research and take a different kind of or view on them. At the end of the day, it's about human nature, right?
Yeah.
Managing people, you got to get buy-in, you got to honor them, you got to value the skills, you have to, have that sincere relationship with people, right? At the same time, learning to inspire, to lead, and bind everything together. It's a challenge. Again, coming from a more technical background, being a spreadsheet person, it can be quite challenging, but we can't live in the comfort zone of what makes us successful at the beginning of our career and not transition to mid-career and later on in a higher level post and stay the same. We stay the same and true to our core, but we need to continue to build and develop that new exterior front where we go from a technical person to a management person, then to a true leader.
Yeah, I think what you covered is so close to what I think. Two last questions for rapid fire. One is your proudest moment in your life.
I will share two, not just one. First one is becoming a mother. And this says specifically to women, right? For men who don't have to experience it, carrying someone inside of you for 9 months, 10 months, right? It is a long-term commitment. Even though it's less than a year, it is a long-term commitment. It's a lot of connection to our children. And when the child finally comes, it's very exciting. Yet in another way, I'm like, wow, I brought life to this world, literally, right? A living, breathing life to the world in partnership with God. And of course, the spouse. It's a moment that's unlike any other. Now, from a career perspective, it's when I reached the pinnacle of being a CFO. Starting out in accounting, doing the courses in college, being a staff accountant, chunking all the numbers along the way, working through all the spreadsheets and details. One can always wonder, where would I become down the road from a career perspective? And there are only so many positions at the top, right? While one can aspire to be one, there's no guarantee or promise that one can be one or will be, because for every one of the positions at the top, there are many more. And when I was many more at the bottom, it's like looking up there. It's like, what is the likelihood of me getting there? So finally getting here and being able to stay here for a period of time, that's not a proud moment, but a proud period. And I'm honored to be able to continue to do the job and lead the team, work with the team of professional, bright individuals that not only supporting me and the team, but also bringing innovation, bringing new insights and ideas on what we can do even more down the road. And with our upcoming partnership with another credit union in the works, we will become much larger in scale and with a lot more complexity in our business. So there will be a ton of learning for myself and my teams and everybody else around us with conversion, implementation, new vendors, new systems, a lot more work to do. And the challenge is insurmountable at times, but the excitement is that it will all get worked out because this has been happening all over the world in a lot of places for a lot of companies, and a lot of people work through it. So we have a lot of precedents and experts we can reach out to, and we will be able to work through all of this with our own teams and with our teams across the other side of the aisle. And I cannot be more excited to work with our future colleagues in the near future.
Absolutely. A couple of last ones. One is, if there was one mentor, Angela, who really helped shape your career,
I think that would be my current CEO. I've been here for just a little over 12 years. And I came in as a vice president. She was the person who hired me, and she was actually the CFO at the time. Working with her, she has a lot of innovative ideas. She's ultra smart. She has worked through a lot of different positions in the past. So she has true hands-on experience in a lot of operational areas, young accounting, finance, and I'm constantly stretched, right? To learn more, to do more, and keeping pace with what's going on from a variety of challenges. And she's the one that I could always go to for ideas, for support. And same thing, I serve for as support and an idea person for her. Whenever something new comes up, we can run through things with each other. And before we get to a point where we have more meetings and discussions with additional parties, and having somebody who I report to and I could also truly look to as an actual mentor is incredible. Now, there are a lot of other people I look to for ideas and thoughts throughout my career. And the person, though, that has the most impact would have been my current CEO. That's very motivating. One last question, Angela. If you were to share a piece of advice, maybe with Angela, who 20 years back, what would that be? 20 years back? Definitely stay true to my passion. I knew I am pretty decent at numbers even when I was in high school. I actually took 2 accounting classes while I was in high school, and I knew that was going to be my major and my career would be in numbers as an accountant somewhere, somehow. But know yourself and stay true to your strength and keep on cultivating and developing yourself to overcome some of the maybe lesser strengths, more of the weaknesses, to where you are good enough in those areas where they will not become a challenge, won't stumble you, but focus on doing what you are best at instead of trying to be somebody else. And I think sometimes it's hard because we look at a successful person that we aspire to be and we want to be like somebody else, right? I want to be like Mike. No, I don't want to be like Mike. I cannot ever shoot basketball the way Mike does. So while I love Mike, I will not want to be like Mike. Right? I want to be like Angela, somebody close to be Angela, because that's who God made me to be. And I want to be the best version of me and focus on that and growing and developing all the skill sets to make that an even bigger person would be what I said to myself years ago. And I will say that I actually stay true to that, right? We have a lot of inspirations in our lives. There's so many people that we look up to. Everybody attain their success through their own unique gifts and talent. Yeah, all of our journeys, our circumstances are different. And so honor what we were made to be and how we were made. And then all of the support that we have around us, use all of that to make the best version of ourselves. Sandra, this was great, right? I mean, this episode was really interesting, eye-opening in a lot of terms, but this was really good. And again, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. My pleasure, Anurag. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.